Workplace scenario 4. When friends become your colleagues. Let's say a startup founder has three close friends. Okay? All three are friends. They already have great connection with each other. They have great bonds. Everything is easy. सब कुछ फटाफट हो रहा है. Great communication. Things are great. High trust. They have a shared history. They know each other very well. Very fast decisions happen. But the problems will appear when someone makes a mistake and no one speaks about it. Why? Because protecting the relationship is a priority. Friendship over work. So difficult conversations are delayed. One friend is someone who does not give work on timeline, always delays the timeline. So both other friends resent that, but they also don't want to break the friendship. So they never say that, come on, start giving stuff on time. Performance issues go unaddressed. You are not doing a good job, but you are not told about it. Friends. So you can't say that. Assumptions replace honest feedback. Something that you could have told, do this or do that, or this is how it should be done, you are not saying because you assume your friend will understand it, or your friend will feel bad about it, or a lot of other things. And accountability becomes inconsistent. So now, when this situation happens, team performance will suffer as a result. Professional disagreements will then slowly start becoming personal tensions, because when that resentment starts building up inside you that he is always late, he is not giving things on time, or she is someone who puts less work hours than us, or she does not understand what she is doing, and we are also not telling her what she has to do because we don't want to hurt her. All these situations come up and they slowly start becoming sarcastic remarks, snide remarks, and then even the friendship breaks. The relationships become strained. Whatever you were trying to protect is what gets affected. So it's a slippery path actually. From friendship to avoided conversations, weak accountability, performance issues, and lastly, that same friendship which you were trying to protect by not speaking out gets strained. It's not a one day thing, but it does happen eventually if there's lack of communication in the friendship. So the problem is not hiring friends. The problem is replacing accountability with friendship. If your friend is not giving work on time, they need to be told this will not be allowed. This is not how things will go. This is affecting the project. So strong relationships still need strong accountability systems, honest feedback, performance reviews, more of clear communication than just assumptions. If your best friend worked for you, would you hold them to the same standard as everyone else? And the answer to it is yes, you should. If not, one day your friendship is going to get affected. And all of us know that the best of friends can break or walk away from each other because of such situations. In fact, in Gujarati, we say that there's a proverb that your friend should be such. Share only those secrets with your friend that if one day your friend turns into enemy, it does not become a problem. And disrespect, insult, fight with your enemy only that much that one day if they become your friend, it does not become a problem. Everything should be in moderation. And the last workplace scenario that I want to talk about is familiarity isn't fairness. So let's say an educator, a coach, a trainer, a teacher, a professor, you can assume anyone in this situation, repeatedly assigns responsibilities to the same favorite student. Now, this is like you went in the class on day one, three people responded to you. On day two, also the same three people were responding. Now, these three are your favorite students. You always give all tasks to them only. Easy, familiar, comfortable. That happens in workplace also. You give opportunity only to your favorite subordinates. So all responsibilities, recognition, opportunities, everything is going to that one, two people only. Others are feeling overlooked. हम भी है क्लास में. We can also do it. We are also capable of doing it. But they feel overlooked, and over time, their trust on you gets eroded. They don't trust you anymore. You have connection only with those one or two people and not with others. So what happens is morale drops, trust declines, participation decreases, and capable people will disengage. So now this classroom is actually your team at your workplace. If you are giving all opportunities, recognition to only one person, the rest of the team members will be feeling left out. And they'll say कि this is a person who's a favorite. वो कुछ भी कर ले, he or she is never going to get scolded. We are the ones who are going to get scolded. This favoritism can happen on a lot of things, like maybe that person is very good at praising others, maybe that person is very good at giving high quality work on time, but then others are also performing. You still need to take a look at others, even if this person is the highest performer, or they are from the same hometown or same region where you belong to. A lot of things, or they are your relative or a childhood friend. Now familiarity does not mean you are being fair to everyone, and because of this, what message does everyone else receive? That performance matters less than proximity. So it is better to create good relations with you. Performance का तो anyway कोई value नहीं है. That is the message that you are giving to your team. People want fairness more than friendship. If you are unfair to your friends, they will notice it, they'll resent it. Whether they tell you about it is a different thing, but they will notice it. So, favoritism destroys trust, whereas objective standards build it. Don't be so biased towards your favorite that others feel overlooked. Could everyone explain why your last opportunity, promotion, or responsibility was assigned? If everyone knows the reason why it was given, that means there's no favoritism. If there are no reasons, then there's definitely some kind of favoritism at work. If that person is not capable, if that person is not seen as an achiever, a hard worker, a performer, a talented individual, and is still getting opportunities, then everyone else will understand that this is favoritism. So last but not the least, understanding how can we apply this law in our life, especially in workplace or formal or professional situations.
Before we conclude the second law, there is one important question left. How do you apply this law without becoming manipulative, cynical, or unfair? In part 7, we will bring everything together with a practical decision making framework and key lessons every leader should remember. If you are enjoying this Ethical Power series, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the final part of Law 2.